There is no place in Irish politics for the sleazy, dishonest bribery and corruption which prevailed within Fianna Fáil, and which a broke political system based on partition helped cultivate. There was no place then, there is no place now, and there is certainly no place for it in the future. The dog in the street knew what the story was with brown envelopes, golden circles, and political parties such as Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And it is a scandal that it took so long and so much of the taxpayers' money for this to eventually come out. The people named in the report disgraced themselves, their families, their party, and this state. Everyone had an opinion that when it came to the planning process in this state, the old phrase, it's not what you know, but who you know, sprung to mind. And of course, with the corrupt local public reps of the time, as well as those in high office, it was not only about who you knew, but how much cash to go to them with. It was not a question of could they be corrupted, but at what price. They sold the integrity of politics to whoever they wanted, regardless of the consequences to the ordinary, hard-working, decent people on this island. Citizens who had already been shafted by the government of the day, who were hell-bent on introducing policies that would widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. These people did more to embed inequality into the social fabric of Ireland than our colonial neighbours across the water. From the very bottom to the very top of government, politics was corrupt, and those at the centre of it operated as if they were untouchable. Phrases like the Drumcondra Mafia and the Teflon Taoiseach wouldn't sound out of place in an episode of The Sopranos, but sadly these were the people entrusted with the public interest of Irish citizens. And when people did ask questions, the political gangsters, high on the trappings of powers, acted with a level of audacity that is nothing short of astonishing. And throughout the duration of the Tribunal's workings, a serious amount of criticism was directed at its members by the very political elite who had established it in the first place. Rather than defend its integrity, they chose to attack its independence for self-serving reasons. Attempts were made to end the Tribunal altogether, with concerns for public spending used as a smokescreen to hide naked self-interest and self-preservation. The report of the Mahon Tribunal states that during 2007 and 2008, members of the Cabinet embarked on a sustained attack against the Tribunal. Some Cabinet members questioned not only the legality of the Tribunal, but also the integrity of its members. These attacks came mainly, but not exclusively, as a result of the Tribunal's inquiries into Bertie Ahern's conduct. And Deputy Micheál Martin was a senior member of the Cabinet then and is now leader of the Fianna Fáil party. And for me, Deputy Martin has a number of questions to answer regarding the conduct and the credibility of his party colleagues who are still members of this Dáil and who were Cabinet ministers at that time. The public have a right to know if these people who, as Cabinet ministers at the time, people like Deputy Martin and Deputy O'Dea, are willing to share in the collective responsibility that comes with serving in Cabinet, and are they willing to take ownership for the attacks on the Tribunal. People also have a right to know if these attacks went to the very top. Were they part of an orchestrated campaign at the behest of the disgraced former Taoiseach, Bertie Ahern? And if Fianna Fáil could find it within themselves to be honest, to put citizens' interests before party interests, to act in this state's interest rather than Fianna Fáil's interest, then they would do the decent thing and address this section of the report comprehensively. And yesterday, Deputy Martin had an opportunity to do that. But rather than take responsibility for the actions of a Cabinet he served in, Deputy Martin rounded on every other political party in this chamber. He was busy pointing out what he saw as our flaws and failings, as if this made what was discovered about Fianna Fáil in the Mahon report any less repulsive. And rather than lecture others, Deputy Martin should concentrate on getting his own house in order. It is simply not good enough for the now leader of Fianna Fáil, a then Cabinet Minister, to say that he does not know who the Tribunal was referring to when it talks about these attacks on its integrity. One only has to read the media reports from the time to know which ministers are being referred to. Deputy Willie O'Dea, a man not unknown for attacking the integrity of honest people, had no hesitation in attacking the Tribunal with his flippant comments about communion money and half-crowns from Owen O'Callaghan. And just as people in 2010 did not believe Deputy O'Dea, they do not believe him now when he states, "I did not try to undermine the Mahon Tribunal." Listening to the public debate on this report, is it any wonder people have no faith in the political system? For far too long, the political elite in this state, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Labour and the defunct PDs, fostered a culture of dependency by citizens on politicians. We have seen establishment politician after establishment politician allow a system develop where people felt subservient to those in power. Citizens forced into a way of thinking that if you wanted access to your rights, then you needed the nod and wink of your local councillor or TD to make it happen. People have criticised the cost of the Tribunal, and those who were against its very existence were and still happy to feed into that. Yes, it was long and it was expensive, but unfortunately it was necessary. And it was necessary because there is a bigger job at stake here, and that is restoring the faith in the political structures of this state. The truth should not have cost so much, and I hope that when the DPP investigates the contents of the report, it does not take as long to hold those who have been found to have received corrupt payments to account. Now, the allegation of corruption against Bertie Ahern may not have been sustained in the Tribunal, but Justice Mahon certainly did not hold back when he said he did not believe a word that came out of the man's mouth during his contributions to the inquiry. And now poor old Bertie feels hard done by. So it's time to shut up or put up, Bertie. If you feel aggrieved by the findings of the Tribunal, then off to the courts with you. Recount to them the nature of your dealings and the bank accounts you didn't have and your tales of "I won it on the horses." Spin your untruths and false statements any way you want. Roll the dice and let's see the outcome. Or better still, save us all the bother of listening to this sorry tale again by jumping back into your cupboard and your TV commercials and closing the door never to reappear again. The days where politicians feel that they can operate like mafia dons must be over if we are to ever restore public confidence in politics again. Hundreds of people across this state are now bunkering down, hoping that all of this will blow over, that the outrage and the anger of the people will be a one-week wonder. And they believe that if they can avoid scrutiny, wait it out and bide their time, then they will be able to come out from under whatever rock they're hiding currently, and that normal service will resume. But we have to ask ourselves some questions. How fundamental a break do we want from the Frank Dunlops of this world? How committed are we to confronting and challenging these people, to breaking the golden circles, because there was never just one at the intersection of property, capital and elected representatives. The debate and choices before us are bigger than Mahon, and certainly bigger than the grubby little men exposed as corrupt in this report. And in a few weeks' time, when all has been said and done on the Mahon report, when the politicians have finished their finger wagging and their political posturing, what will happen? Well, that depends on all of us within this chamber and how we react to this report. And I know that the vast majority of elected reps in this chamber, from all parties and none, are, I believe, committed to public service. Corrupt politicians got us into this mess, and it is now for us as politicians to get us out of it. It is not enough for any person or party to turn away from their collective job, which faces us, which is the job of cleaning up politics for good. And in that spirit, Minister, I would ask that the Government would consider the establishment of an all-party Oireachtas committee, one with a single task and a set time frame, whose objective is the implementation of the Mahon Tribunal's recommendations. And what better way for us to restore people's faith in the political system than all of us, across all parties and none, to come back here in a few short months with some of the most far-reaching reforms of the political system that this state has ever seen. And it is no small task. It is a massive challenge, but it is one that we are up to, one which we will approach with humility and in the spirit of cooperating with other political parties in the Oireachtas. And I would also urge the Taoiseach to again look at the scope and the remit of the Constitutional Convention. Mahon has sent us all a clear message. Our political system is corrupt from the ground up to the very architecture of the state is crumbling. Trust in our institutions of democracy in Ireland is falling apart. A constitution is a contract between the people and the state, and the constitution of this state has been broken, and it cannot, I believe, be fixed or repaired. It must be created anew. And this government should seize the opportunity afforded by its decision to hold a constitutional convention to open up a real debate on what the Republic envisaged by the men and women of 1916 really was about. And let us give all of the people on this island, all 32 counties, the opportunity to build a new republic. A republic which cherishes all of the children of this nation equally. And if we do not grab that opportunity, then I fear we will be back here again at some point in the future talking about more corruption and more corrupt politicians.